gift that keeps on giving.
What is that, a movie?
No, it's a film.
Welcome to Friendly Studios, the Film Buff channel. DiNozzo's Film Picks, Episode 2. Tony, a film expert? Well, it's been about a month since my last video. Yup, 1 whole month. And I finally found the next movie Tony DiNozzo mentions in NCIS. I'm still in Season 1, and today's movie comes from Episode 15. But before we get there, I must be honest. This whole project has not gone the way I thought it would. Actually, I'm kind of shocked and a little bit surprised. Now, don't get me wrong. I still love Tony. He's one of my favorite TV characters. But it's got me wondering, when did the studio decide Tony was the film expert? Because Season 1 Tony, he's really no expert. Not at all. That's actually what's been surprising me the most. When I started this series, I thought I'd be putting these videos out left and right. I figured Tony would be throwing out movie references every episode, and I'd have plenty to talk about. Nope. Instead, Kate and Gibbs seem to be the movie experts. Seriously. Now, before we jump into today's episode, let's do a quick recap. Last time we left off on Episode 4, where Tony finally gave us our first movie quote of the series. I thought, all right, here we go. I figured the movie references were about to start just rolling in. Well, I was wrong. What I found out over the next several episodes wasn't what I expected at all. Okay, so let's go through it. Episode 5, Kate mentions Bounce, a movie. Tony does bring up MASH, but that's a TV show, not a movie. We're sticking with movies for now. Episode 6 and 7, there were a few movie mentions, but not by Tony. And yes, I know the joke about 6 and 7. That's not what I mean here. I actually lost my notes for those episodes. So we're going to go into Episode 8. And oh boy, this one actually frustrated me. Several classic movies get mentioned, and Tony doesn't know them. Okay, first, a bartender mentions The Maltese Falcon. Come on, that's a classic. Tony has absolutely no clue what he's talking about. Then Kate and Gibbs mentions the 1953 film Shane. Now, I'll admit, I had to look that one up. But Tony doesn't know it either. And then to make it even worse, the bartender basically tells Tony that young people don't know good movies. Tony! You're supposed to be my movie guy. I'm sitting there watching this episode thinking, defend yourself, man. Nothing. I was honestly kind of ashamed of him in that episode. I'm not going to keep going on and on. But episode 9, we're going to just keep moving on. I'm not going to keep talking about that one. Episode 9 didn't really stand out to me because apparently didn't. I didn't write any notes. So either nothing happened or I completely missed it. And then episode 10, Tony mentions actresses like Emma Thompson, Angelina Jolie. But once again in episode 10, Gibbs is the one bringing up movies. He mentions The Apartment with Jack Lemmon, another classic. And then episode 11, Kate mentions 3 Days of the Condor with Robert Redford, a classic. At this point, I'm seriously wondering if the writers hadn't decided yet who the movie expert was supposed to be, because it sure wasn't Tony at that point. Not yet anyway. I'm really interested to see when the Tony I know, the Tony I love watching, the guy who's always quoting movies and explaining why he loves them, finally shows up. It's almost like one day the writers just flipped a switch and said, okay, Tony's the movie guy now. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I'm doing this series and kind of not. You know what they say about meeting your heroes, right? Sometimes they don't turn out the way you imagine. This whole time, I've loved that Tony loved movies the way I do. Listen, everybody out there who's listening to me, and I hope you are, if you've ever listened to Michael Weatherly, who plays Tony DiNozzo, he has commentaries on the DVDs for NCIS. Yes, I have bought the DVDs for NCIS, okay? I'm obsessed. But it's really interesting. You can really tell he genuinely loves filmmaking. Michael talks about the art of making movies, a little behind the scene things. It's actually educational, and in a weird way, it feels very Tony. So maybe that's where some of Tony came from. But okay, back to the episodes. Again, side note tangent. Episode 12, Tony mentions John Denver's Take Me Home, music. He also talks about Julia Roberts and Angelina Jolie, and even brings up their interesting choice of husbands. Oh, I'm not cutting this out. Lyle Lovett and Billy Bob Thornton. But then Abby mentions Petticoat Junction, specifically Hooverville, and once again, Tony doesn't know it. At this point, I'm thinking, wow. I honestly expected to have several of these videos finished by now. Instead, I'm still waiting for Tony to be Tony. I'm waiting for him to mention a movie and tell us why it's great and why he loves it. Episode 13, CSI is mentioned. Not really a movie, so we'll move on from there. Episode 14, Tony, I'm not going to edit this out either. Tony finally mentions Magnum PI. Now that feels like Tony. And I know his love for Magnum PI. It does enter into the series later on in several episodes. So definitely that makes sense. Still, TV show, not a movie. Meanwhile, guess who mentions another movie? Gibbs. He brings up Top Gun and even quotes Need for Speed. Tony does recognize Ducky's Yogi Berra quote, which actually makes sense. Tony was a sports guy in college, so that one fits his character. But I'm still asking the same question. When does Tony become the film expert? Because that's what I'm hunting for. Seriously. Oh, and before I forget, the sheriff in that episode also mentioned Sleepless in Seattle. Again, not Tony. Which finally brings us to episode 15. And I mean finally, Tony mentions a movie. And, drum roll please, it's Pirates of the Caribbean. Not exactly an old Hollywood classic, but it's probably become a classic for the younger generation right now. But still, Pirates of the Caribbean. And Kate does mention Johnny Depp, I think just to help Ducky and Gibbs understand the reference, because clearly they have not seen it. So after waiting a whole month, after watching 15 episodes, after listening to everyone except Tony talk about movies, we finally have our next official DiNozzo film pick. Hallelujah. Now, was it worth the wait? Well, we're going to find out together. We're going to jump into the Pirates of the Caribbean, but I'm going to explain something real quick. As I'm writing the script for this, okay? And yes, I'm writing a script this time because the last episode, I felt I need to polish it up, okay? Now, I haven't rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean yet since watching episode 15. I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean years ago. I think I even watched part 2. It's just been a long time. Now, this is probably where I'm going to have some opinions that not everyone is going to agree with, and that's okay. Movies are subjective. We all like different things, and that's one of the reasons I love talking about films. I'm going to try to be respectful with my opinions, and I'm hoping the comments can be the same way, because I will delete them. With all that said, I'm not really a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, don't panic. I'm absolutely going to watch it again, okay? I was just so excited that after waiting an entire month to find Tony's next movie reference, I seriously wanted to just get this episode started. I was so excited. Since I've already seen the movie before, I figured I'd tell you my first impressions before I watch it again. Then after the rewatch, I'll let you know if my opinion has changed. It's been several years, so maybe it will. Let me explain why I'm not a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean. But I need to tell you a little bit about myself first. One thing about me is that sometimes I'll watch a movie just because of who's in it. I'm going to give you an example. I watched The Joker. Now, anybody who knows me, I don't watch a lot of rated R movies. Several reasons behind that. That's another topic of conversation another day. However, I did watch The Joker. And the reason why I watched The Joker is because Joaquin Phoenix was in it. And I have always told myself Joaquin Phoenix would make the perfect villain. So, knowing he was in it, and I was determined to watch whatever came out when he became a villain, I was there, okay? Watched it in the theater all by myself. So, of course, when the Pirates of the Caribbean came out, the reasons why I wanted to go to the theater and watch it is because I love Orlando Bloom in The Lord of the Rings, okay? I just loved him. And Johnny Depp, I think he's one of the most talented actors out there. There are only a handful of actors I can say that about. His range is incredible. He can disappear into a role, and I'm not sitting there thinking about another character he played. I'm going to give you another side note, another tangent. My all-time favorite actor does that even better. Okay, some of you are probably wondering who it is. I will tell you, but for me, this actor is the gold standard. I'm sorry, platinum. Okay, he can play just about anybody. And sometimes I don't even realize it's him until later. That just blows me away. It's hard to explain. And let me tell you, it's hard for me to pick favorite things, favorite movies, actresses. I'm eclectic in a lot of stuff. But when it comes to my favorite actor, that's easy. It's Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is my all-time favorite actor. So the reason why I jumped onto the Pirates of the Caribbean and I wanted to watch it and get in there was because of Johnny Depp. So I know I'm going off on tangents here, but if you watch this channel for any length of time, you'll find out that's kind of what I do. Anyway, so between Orlando Bloom, Johnny Depp, and of course, pirates, adventure, comedy, sword fights, this movie should have been right up my alley. I love action adventure. Those are some of my favorite kinds of movies. I grew up loving Treasure Island. I read the book twice. I've always enjoyed pirate stories, sailing ships, adventures on the water, all of it, okay? I was genuinely excited to watch this movie. And I didn't hate it. I want to put that out there. I liked it. It was okay. It was not enough that I wanted to watch it over and over again. Now, here's the part where some of you might disagree with me. Okay, and that's perfectly fine. There's one actress in this movie that I've just never really connected with. I'm going to leave her name out of it because this is more about my taste than anything she did wrong. To me, her performances tend to feel a little one note. Actually, I call it a one-tone actress or actor, okay? Yeah, I said it. Sorry. Again, that's just my opinion. There are actors and actresses like that for me where if they cast in the right movie, I really enjoy them. I really enjoy them. Sometimes it's just finding the role that fits, okay? Another side note, another tangent. And again, another discussion for another day, but I do like the Twilight series. I know, big nerd and ridiculous, right? However, one of the actors and actresses in there is whom I consider a one-tone actress, okay? But the role fits them perfectly. So I did not mind watching the films. So another example and another tangent. And I'll be honest, this movie, it really made it a little harder for me to overlook. So that's kind of why I've only seen it maybe twice. And I haven't seen it since. And it's okay. I liked it, but I just don't go out of my way to see it, okay? So that's enough about that before, okay? I don't want to get myself into trouble. So the people who know me already know exactly who I'm talking about anyway. So now it's time to get this movie another chance. Maybe after all these years, I'll notice things I didn't appreciate before. Maybe I'll see the filmmaking differently. Maybe there are details I've completely forgotten. Maybe that person won't drive me crazy. But we'll find out together. Once I watch Pirates of the Caribbean, I will complete this video and see if my opinion changes. So I watched the movie today, and this episode is actually going to come out today, hopefully. I had the day off, and I figured I'd better sit down, watch it one more time, finish the script while everything was still bouncing around in my head. So the big question, did my opinion change? Nope, it did not. I still can't get past that one actress. I know some of you probably disagree, and that's perfectly okay. Again, movies are subjective. We all see different things, and that's part of what makes talking about them fun. For me, though, she still comes across as a little one-tone and very annoying. Oh, my poor dad watched it with me, and he got the brunt of it. I just can't get past it. But here's the funny thing. I still like the movie. I do like it, okay? Johnny Depp is just so much fun to watch. It seemed like every time I laughed, he was the one on the screen. He just disappears into Jack Sparrow, and I honestly can't imagine anyone else playing that role. Now, do I think one casting change would have made this an even better movie? Yep, I sure do. But that's just me. Now, my sister would probably be shaking her head, disagreeing with me right now because she likes another movie with the same actress. And she tells me, she's okay in there. She does really good. I don't think I could enjoy that movie. I believe it's rated R, but my sister appreciates movies too. She actually showed me one scene from that movie because it was one continuous shot with no cuts. I remember thinking, okay, that's actually pretty cool. That's when you know someone isn't just watching movies, they're appreciating the filmmaking too. I've got a few friends who are like that as well, and honestly, I have some ideas for future episodes, series. So maybe, I want to sit down around and talk about movies together. I think it could be really fun, especially, just hanging out with my friends individually. We talk about movies all the time. Anyway, back to the Pirates. See, I told you I get sidetracked. It's still a good movie. I think it's worth watching at least once. Apparently, in my case, at least 3 times. I think there are 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And I know I've seen at least the second one. So I really did give the series another chance, okay? The things that bothered me the first time still bother me today, but the things I enjoyed, I still enjoyed. One thing I always admire is when an actor or actress makes a performance feel effortless. You stop seeing an actor and just believe they're the character. That's not easy to do. Now, I should probably mention that I do have a tiny bit of acting experience, and I mean emphasis on tiny, because everybody's like, well, what makes you judge? Whatever. And it's very tiny experience. Back in middle school, I played a teacher in one play, and surprisingly, I got several compliments on that performance. This was middle school, though. I also played a frog, so my acting resume has quite the range. In high school, I took an acting class where we performed an ensemble of different skits for the school. One of them was a Carol Burnett sketch. I had a major role in that one, along with a few other small parts. That was also when I discovered something important about myself. I was meant to enjoy the art, not necessarily be the art. The problem wasn't stage fright. The problem was that I kept getting so wrapped up watching everyone else's performance that I'd occasionally miss one of my cues. Luckily, I was just an extra in those. I'd be sitting there completely captivated by the incredibly talented people in my class, and then suddenly realize, oh, that's me, I'm up. One time I was sitting in the audience and completely missed the cue and wasn't even in the script. But again, I was just an extra at that one point. I was also in a musical, Anything Goes, as an extra, and one performance gave me a memory I'll never forget. The lead actress accidentally missed about half of her song, and there I was, standing alone in the middle of the stage, looking completely confused and utterly befuddled, wondering if I somehow missed my cue too. And of course, that was the one night my family came to see the show, naturally. Looking back now, it's one of those memories that make me laugh. I may not have been destined for the stage, but I came away with some great stories. So my opinion hasn't really changed. Still a good movie, still worth watching. Just not one thing I'm going to watch over and over again, just because I can't get past that actress. Whew. Okay. It was really bad today. Poor dad. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it, especially if you had made it all the way into the end. Thank you. That means a lot. Until next time, hopefully sooner rather than later, when will Tony become the film expert? Time will tell. I will continue watching the series, looking for those mentions. So for now, take care. And if you're enjoying this journey, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bloody pirates!
Drink up, me hearty, yo ho.